Hi, this is Mr. Manley, and this is a video on matrix multiplication. It's the next step in matrix multiplication, seeing that we can multiply matrices that don't share the same dimensions. So you should know by now that we can refer to matrices by their dimensions. So this first matrix C is 3 by 2, and the second matrix D is 2 by 2. One thing to note is that in order to be able to multiply two matrices, these two numbers need to match. The second number of the first matrix and the first number of the second matrix. So if I'm doing C times D here, I can multiply these. And the result, it's also good to know that the result of multiplying them is going to be these dimensions here, 3 by 2. So when I do C times D, I'm going to end up with a 3 rows and 2 columns. And the process that was introduced before for matrix multiplication applies here to fill in this one, which is the first row, first column. I use the first row and the first column. So that will be -5 times 0 plus 3 times -2. Then to fill in this spot here, right there, that's the first row, second column. So I'm going to use the first row, second column. And that will be -5 times 3 plus 3 times 4. Okay, I'm going to fill in the rest without too much more commentary, and I've talked about the process quite a bit, and I'm hoping that by now you can follow along or understand that you need some help. So I'm just going to start filling in these spots here based upon the rules or the process of matrix multiplication. All right, so this is using all of the rows and columns appropriately. And then from there, I'm doing the basic arithmetic. 0 plus -6, -6, -15 plus 12, (0 plus -4), -18 plus 6, (0 plus -2), and 21 plus 4. Let's just look at one more thing here, that when I try to do D times C, now I have to change the order, right? So I'm going D is a 2 by 2 times C, which is a 3 by 2. And I told you at the beginning that in order to multiply these two numbers need to match. So these numbers don't match. So I can't multiply these. And let's look at what happens when I try to. So first of all, I don't know, I also told you that this is the result. You're going to get a 3 by 2. So I guess it would make sense if I can multiply these, that this will be the result. I get a 2 by 2. Hard to say because we can't multiply them, but let's just set it up like I'm going to do a 2 by 2. And what happens is this would be, following the process, this would be the first row, first column. So I would go first row of D, because D comes first, and the first column of C, because C comes second. So I'd be starting here, starting with C, or with D. Okay? So how is that going to work out? I'm going to go 0 times -5 plus 3 times -6. And then I'd have to extend this a little bit. And then what happens, I would have something times 7. So look at the 7 there. You see what's happening to the 7? It didn't have a number to go with it. So if I'm following the process of multiplication that I've used for other matrices, you see how this doesn't make sense as I do this row and column method, that I have a number that's hanging off the end that doesn't have a pair, it doesn't have anything to match up with. So even if I don't catch this, that these numbers don't match, so I can't multiply them, once I try to do it, if I've done enough matrix multiplication to understand how it works, I would see that this doesn't make sense here. The 7 doesn't make sense. So D times C in this case is, I would just say it's undefined. It's not a matrix that I can multiply. So that's matrix multiplication with matrices that do not have the same dimensions.